All right, here we are. Welcome back to our final bonus day of the three-step client acquisition system workshop. So for those of you who attended the three-step client acquisition system workshop, welcome back. We're going to be taking what you learned during that workshop, right? How you're going to essentially get your first 5 clients, your first handful of clients. And today's training is going to be about how do we take what we've learned and speed it up, right? That's why I'm calling this how to set rocket fuel to your client attraction system. How do we take what you learned when it comes to client attraction? How do we speed it up? And how do we make it feel easier? How do we make it feel easier? Easier for us, the entrepreneur, the coach, and easier for your potential clients to find you, right? So we're going to talk about how to make this easier, how to speed this up. So this is essentially an add-on to the workshop, one final bonus add-on training. And I will say this too, so go ahead and drop into the chat. I have people joining me in different places. We have some people joining us on Zoom, so welcome to my Zoomers. We have some people joining us in my Facebook group. So out of our about 3,500 coaches in the Facebook group, welcome to those of you who are joining us for the stream. Drop into the chat. We'd love to hear, were you with us for the three-step client acquisition system workshop? Just give me a yes if you were with us, just so I can get a sense of where everybody's at with learning. And I absolutely understand that you weren't necessarily maybe here for all 7 days of that workshop. I'm thinking a lot of people probably attended. Okay, Wayne says yes, Saliana yes, Sarah yes, Kim yes, Sally yes. Okay. And by the way, it's okay if you weren't. So if we're getting any viewers that are thinking, oh, I didn't attend the workshop, maybe I shouldn't be here, do stick around. You're still going to learn a lot when it comes to client attraction and how to speed it up and make it feel easier, regardless of whether you attended the workshop. Okay, so let's get into it tonight. So real quick here, if you see me looking down, it's because I'm trying to make sure that things are streaming on my Facebook group, and looks like so far so good. All right, and let's just jump in here. Okay, I see Tracy's comment. Okay, good. No worries, Wayne. No worries. Yeah, the last 2 were bonus days, so I'm glad you got to join us tonight. All right, so let's jump into tonight's topic. We're going to go no longer than an hour. No longer than an hour. So buckle up, take some notes. I would have something handy to take some notes here. And we're going to talk about tonight's topic, how to set rocket fuel to your client attraction system. So let me just set the stage for a second here. And of course, real quick, give you kind of the overview, the reminder of what our agenda is tonight. Okay. So tonight is going to be talking to you about how to move you full speed ahead in attracting clients, right? How do you move full speed ahead, right? Speed and ease. So we're going to touch on 4 things specifically. Okay, 4 topics. Number 1, we're going to touch on the 3 secrets that will help you take the client attraction strategies that you learned, right, during the workshop. And quite frankly, even for some of you that maybe didn't join the workshop and you're doing something else to attract clients, it really doesn't matter what your client attraction strategy is. What I'm about to teach you is going to speed that up for you. So you're going to learn the 3 secrets that will help you take client attraction strategies and expedite the process. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to learn tonight, agenda-wise. Number two, you're going to learn how these 3 secrets will elevate the type of clients you are attracting. Elevate the type of clients you are attracting. And we'll get into more what that means when I say elevating the type of clients you're attracting. But essentially, it's how what I'm about to share with you, these 3 secrets, are going to help you attract the right type of human to you, the ideal client avatar, the person that you're like, yes, this is my unicorn client. This is the person I want to work with, right? So we're going to talk about how to attract those elevated clients and also people that, are experiencing that urgent problem that you're coaching on, and they're happy to pay for it. Right? They're raising their hand. They're saying, this is my thing. This is where I need help. I'm happy to pay for it. So it's a match, right? That's what we're looking for. So we're going to talk tonight about how do you attract that elevated client so that it is a match. Hey, Christina. Hey, lady. How's it going? Okay, we're just talking agenda here. Christina, welcome. The third thing we're going to talk about tonight is what is the number one way to get confidence behind talking about and selling your coaching services, right? That's something that I hear again and again is, hey, I'm lacking confidence. Hey, when I talk about it, I feel myself shrink. Hey, am I experienced enough yet? So we're going to talk about tonight, what is the number one way to gain that confidence so that when you're talking about coaching and when you're talking about your services, right, it's a authentic kind of natural roll into a sale. It's not going to feel icky and sticky and weird and awkward. You're going to feel that confidence. And last but not least, I'm going to go through a new way to approach this strategy, with a high implementation rate. And what I mean by that is, if any of you have been there, we've all been there. When I say a high implementation rate, when I teach something to, whether it's you guys or my clients, right? The goal is you're not just coming and listening and then going about your life, but that you get out there and implement. So we're going to talk about tonight a way that you can proceed with this with a high implementation rate so that I don't want you to learn it and leave it. Okay. I don't want you to learn it and leave it. So we're going to talk about how does that happen tonight. Okay. So that's our agenda. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat, but that is our agenda for this evening. We're going to cover all 4 topics. Real quick reminder, because there might be a couple people in the Facebook group. I feel like I know most of the people on Zoom here, but there might be some people in our Facebook group who haven't seen me for a hot minute. So as a reminder, my name is Betty Kempa, business coach sultant. I like to call myself a coach sultant, part coach, part consultant for coaches. I am an IPEC graduate. For those of you familiar with IPEC, 3-time member of the Forbes Coaches Council, ranked one of the top coaches in Denver, and then again in Tampa by Influence Digest. Recently, ended 2024, was listed as one of the top 10 business coaches to watch by Life Coach Magazine. And I am the proud founder of 2 programs. I am the proud founder of the Corporate to Six-Figure Coach Academy, where we help corporate renegades ditch the 9-to-5 and repackage their genius into a 6-figure coaching business. I am also the proud founder of the Coaching Business Launchpad, which is the number one way to get started with this process, right? So for those of you that are looking to get that ease of use, to get that speed, the Coaching Business Launchpad. So those are my 2 babies. Those are my 2 programs. And real quick here, I will drop into the chat so that y'all have it, because I don't know when everybody's dropping or staying. I have not shared the Launchpad with everybody here. I have not shared the Launchpad with everybody here. That is something that, again, there's a cap on the amount of people that I welcome in, but it's something that I am happy to share tonight. So I put a link in the chat. So go ahead and pocket that link and, you set that aside. That's going to have some information for you for later. All right. So let's jump in here. Tonight's topic. So we've got our four important topics tonight. All right. Now, as we go through these, again, as I was saying, do take notes if you're able. So if you're by a computer, if you're a typer, if you're using a pen and pencil, I do recommend taking some notes as we go through tonight's training. So let's start off with the 3 secrets. The 3 secrets that will help you take the client attraction strategies that you learned, right? During the workshop, I taught you a client attraction system, and it's really part 1 of the client attraction system. I taught you essentially a system to get your first handful of clients, your first 3 to 5 clients. And that's usually what I see happen is coming from that system. So let's kick off with what are the 3 secrets that will help you take that and expedite the process. So number 1, write this down. It will come as no surprise. I know I'm preaching to the choir. Number 1, the number 1 thing that's going to expedite this process, y'all. Anybody want to take a guess? I don't even know if I want to put you guys through the guessing. But anybody want to take a guess? What do you think is the number one way? And this is me preaching to the choir, coach talking to coach. What do y'all think is the number one way to speed this up? And there's multiple ways. But what do you think is the number one way? If you're a coach talking to another coach and you're like, ooh, they've got a roadblock here. Anybody want to venture the number one thing standing in your way? Saliana, inner circle for sure is something that we want to utilize. Sarah, you got it, girl. Mindset. And Michael, attitude. Yeah, mindset, attitude goes hand in hand, right? Kim, doing the actual work, again, goes hand in hand. So again, we all know, right? The beliefs, right, are going to trigger the thoughts we think. The thoughts we think are going to trigger how we feel, right? How we feel is going to trigger how we show up, the actions we take, and the actions we take are going to trigger the results we see in front of us. So you're all right there. You are all correct there. But let's start with talking about the mindset piece. Let's start with talking about the mindset piece. So, and maybe I do want to do a little bit of writing up here. Talk about the mindset piece. Okay. Let's talk about the mindset piece for a minute here. All right. So the idea here with what is it about the mindset piece that's going to speed up this client attraction system? Well, as y'all know that we're in my workshop, you're about to be talking to people, right? You're about to get out there and talk to people. Conversations equal clients. Conversations with the right people equal clients. So if I'm about to send you out there to talk to people, right, that either are going to be your ideal client avatar or they may be introducing you to your ideal client avatar, it's going to be important that you're able to approach from a place of confidence. Right? From a place of confidence when you're talking about coaching to people. Okay. Coaches know, y'all know that inside comes first. The inside comes first. I can give you the best blueprint in the world, but if you are not currently getting some form of mindset coaching around the blocks that are getting in the way of laying out this blueprint and implementing these strategies, that blueprint isn't going to do a lot for us, right? This is why coaches need coaches, okay? You need to conquer that inner saboteur. You know, for those of you from IPEC, the gremlin, the inner saboteur, limiting beliefs, right? All of those things from within, or the best blueprint in the world won't work. Now, the reminder is, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. Saliana's with me, yeah. But again, here's a reminder too about the mindset piece, right? And this, my significant other, Ryan, he is a, side note, strength and conditioning specialist. So he's in the fitness realm, a strength and fitness coach, right? He's been doing that for 20 years. And we like to do analogies a lot of the time. And one of the analogies we talk about is the mindset piece, right? It's kind of like if he had a client that came to him and said, hey, Ryan, I want to lose 20 pounds of fat and gain this much muscle and blah, 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 blah. And he came for one coaching session with Ryan and they lifted a bunch of weights, whatever. And then the person was like, okay, bye, thanks. Right? Where are my results? Mindset is the same thing, right? Again, I know I'm preaching to the choir and we tell this to our clients, right? We tell this to our clients, but is somebody telling this to you, right? So that mindset, we need to be lifting it like it's a weight. This needs to be something, a muscle that you're flexing every single day. Every single day. It's not a one and done, right? This is why coaches need coaches, including myself, right? I work with coaches. It's tough to look in the mirror and coach yourself. It is. So the mindset piece of it, let's not forget that piece. We have to go deeper into what are some of the blocks sometimes that gets in the way of implementation, right? Really, really important. Inside, we coach from the inside out, okay? So that's number one. Questions on that? I think you're with me. You with me on this one? Anybody have any questions about the mindset piece of it? I feel like you're with me on this one, right? Makes sense, Christina, yeah. So again, I want you all to think right now, what will I be doing from a mindset standpoint, right? Who's going to coach the coach? Foundational stuff. You got it, Michael. Who's going to be coaching the coach as I implement my client attraction system? Because if you don't believe in it, nobody else is going to believe in it. Okay. So mindset is the number one secret to expediting this process. Side note with the mindset piece too. And again, this is kind of mindset, but it's also, I also want to throw in there another thing too. Passion, right? When you are super passionate about what you do, and think about what I taught you during the client acquisition system workshop, you're gonna get out there and talk to people, and you're talking about this. It's your calling. It's your passion. This is what you were meant to do. People want to get behind somebody that feels passionate about what they do. They just do. I have a former client, Shanna, who, again, she's one of the gals on my website. And she was literally, this is part of the client attraction system, talking to her neighbor and just exuding confidence, exuding passion, right? Oh my gosh, I'm doing this thing. It's so incredible, blah, 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 blah. And the neighbor says, oh my gosh, I think that the company that I work for, this bigger company could hire you on to do XYZ under contract. And she signed a $55,000 contract. That started with her mindset and her passion and speaking to the right people. So please don't underestimate this and ask yourself, who's going to be coaching the coach? Okay. We got to make sure that piece is in check. So number one, secret, number one. Number two, somebody already said it. Secret number two, how do we set rocket fuel to that client attraction system? And it's the niche. Somebody already said it. Okay. Y'all can see that here. So it's a niche. Okay. Now, the niche. Again, what does the niche have to do? What does choosing a niche have to do with making it easier for you to attract clients? Right. And again, with the niche, we're talking about choosing a specific who, a specific target demographic or psychographic, a specific who. And I promise you, probably your who isn't specific enough. And for those of you that I'm about to work with here, you know who you are, who've already joined us in our program here. We're going to be drilling into the who with your niche. The who, I promise you, for most of you, has to be even more specific than it already is. I would say if it's not so specific, it scares you, it's probably not specific enough. So you got to be thinking about the who, and you got to be thinking about the specific outcome you're helping people achieve. The specific outcome you're helping people achieve. Okay. Now, what does niche have to do? The who and the specific outcome you're helping people achieve, or the specific urgent problem you're helping them solve. What does that have to do with speeding up client attraction? Anybody want to take a guess on that? Drop into the chat. What do you think the niche, having a very specific niche, a who and an outcome and an urgent problem that you solve, once you grab hold of that and embrace that, what do you think that has to do with making it easier and faster for you to attract clients? Michael, helps you walk the talk. What you focus on, you become. Credibility. Absolutely. Yes, Michael. Kim, make sure you're talking to the right people rather than everyone. Yes, Kim. Yeah, when you talk to everyone, you are speaking to no one. When you speak to everyone, you are speaking to no one. And value. Saliana, absolutely. Right? A value. So elevated clients, right, are going to be paying for specialists. That's who they're looking for, is a specialist, not somebody to come, coach them through everything and every topic. They're willing to pay top dollar for a specialist for their specific urgent problem. So I cannot emphasize enough how much easier it will be for you to attract clients once you land the plane here. Okay. So much easier. It's easier for you to get referrals. And I even remember this for myself. Back when I started 7-8 years ago, I started as a career coach, and I had a very specific niche. And I had some networking groups I went to, and, you always have to talk about, what your business is. And I was so locked in on my specific niche. I'll never forget one of the gentlemen from there. He was always sending me referrals, and I was so thankful. And he said, the reason why? He goes, you're so specific with when you talk about who you help and what you help them with. He goes, I immediately visualize in my mind who I can connect you to. He's like, most of the other business owners here, it's so general. I can't think of anybody to connect them to because it could be anybody. So this is going to make it easier for you to get referrals. This being the niche is going to make it easier for you to talk about. Again, conversations equal clients. You're talking to your inner circle. You're doing ideal client avatar surveys. It's going to be so much easier for you to talk to your inner circle and say, hey, do you know anybody like this? Do you know anybody with this problem? If you go to your inner circle and say, hey, I help any person, I'm helping professionals on life problems, any kind of problem, relationship problems, health, money problems. Do you know anybody? It's like, yeah, everyone. Okay. If you want to be connected to the right people, and I'm telling people it'll be hard for them to refer you at all. It's going to be so much easier for you to talk about, for you to deliver your message. It's going to be so much easier for people to find you when you have a niche. So much easier for people to find you, right? So when we start to, and again, this is down the road a little bit, right? But create social media. For those of you posting on social media, like if I was working with you, one of the first things, if you were posting, I'd be auditing that. Because if you're not posting specifically to your specific niche, it's going to fall flat. It's really not going to do what you want it to do in terms of attracting clients. When you start optimizing your social media profile with your niche, using social media, talking to your niche, writing emails to your niche, outreaching to your niche, right? All of your content, the website. Some of y'all are even thinking about websites. Some of you aren't. Don't worry if you're not. Most of the people I work with aren't there yet. But if your website isn't crystal clear within the first 7 seconds of somebody coming to your website, who you help and what you help them with, they're gone. You've lost them. Okay. So the niche, easier to get referrals, easier for you to talk about, easier for people to find you. When I used to, again, career coaching, I use that as an example because I hit my first 6 figures my first year doing what I teach you guys. I used to blog, and that would go on my website. And that would help my SEO, search engine optimization. Don't worry, to my clients, you'll learn all this. And, part of that is picture your niche, your specific ideal client avatar, Googling help. You have to picture what's the urgent problem I solve. And you picture them at midnight Googling for help on that problem. I'm telling you, I would get tons of people driven to my website, my blogs, because I was writing about using copy on my website and copy on my blogs relevant to my niche. I'm telling you, if I was using generic copy, people wouldn't find me. They wouldn't find me. It was like an easy, organic, beautiful search engine optimization funnel. People coming straight to me. Okay. So easier for people to find you. I think Saliana may have said this, but more people will want to work with you when you have a specific specialty. And I'll even say for myself, there was, I'll never forget at one point, I don't know how many years ago, I was hiring a health coach, and I was researching online, different health coaches. And there was one health coach that was so specific with her who. She was talking to women in their 40s who were entrepreneurs. And so that I was like, oh, so very specific with the who. And then very specific with the urgent problem. So her focus was what my urgent problem was. I wanted, when it came to health coaching, less about the exercising. I kind of felt like, I knew that part of it. I wanted more help with the mindset and the accountability piece. And so she wrote her niche to correlate to what was in my brain. I hired her immediately. All it took was for me to read. And same thing when people go to my website, I often get people will say, you're in my brain. How are you in my brain? So I want each of you to think about down the road, we're not there yet with the website, but eventually it's going to be so important. Whatever you put out there for copy, I don't care if it's website, a social media post, an email, a message, I don't care what it is. Maybe you're doing a presentation somewhere, you're doing a free talk, a free, something like what I'm doing tonight, right? Your copy has to be so spot on for people to be like, wow, you are in my head. Greg, I'm so happy that this is helpful so far. Okay. So more people will want to work with you specifically. And again, back to my health coach story. I had like 3 I was looking at. The other 2 might have had more experience. The other 2, I mean, they might have had more certifications. They may have been better coaches for all I know, but there was 1 out of the 3 talking to me and she was hired. Okay. So yes, more people will want to work with you specific with that specialty. All right. And last but not least, it's more than a niche. Okay. When I'm talking about secrets to expedite your client attraction, this is about you becoming the expert authority in the market, the expert authority in the marketplace, the top authority in the marketplace. I don't want people to just say, you know, hey, oh, Coach Michael, yeah, he's that type of coach for that niche. I want people to say, oh, he's the top coach in that space. He's the number 1 coach in this space. They should know your unique value proposition, right? So it's yes, niche, y'all, but the next step from that is positioning you as the expert authority in that space. Boom, Michael. And so it is. Christina says, when you feel connected with a coach, it's awesome. Absolutely. There's nothing better. But that's the hard part, right? Is some of you guys, I mean, I've spoken to a lot of you on this Zoom, and probably a lot of you watching the Facebook group Zoom as well, stream. Some of you guys are such incredible coaches. And then that's not the problem. The problem is people can't find you. People can't find you. So Christina, who, you know, will be talking about this soon. So, and all of my clients that are joining me here, right? We got to make sure people can find you. We've got to make sure people can find you. All right. So it's more than the niche. It's also becoming the top expert authority in that space. All right. Now let's break down a little bit more in talking about the niche. Let's break it down a little bit more. Okay. So again, the topic is so far in our agenda, 3 secrets to set rocket fuel to your client attraction system. Secret 1 is mindset. Secret 2 is niche. I want to break this down a little bit more until I get to the 3rd secret. Okay. So let me just break down the niche piece a little bit more. Okay. So first, when it comes to the niche, we got to choose one that's right for you. Okay. It's right for you. Abbreviating here. Right for you. What do I mean by that? Obviously, it's not just about the money. Obviously, or we just stay in our corporate jobs, right? It's not just, it's about you have to feel passionate about that space, right? There is going to be a sweet spot. This is what people hire me to do. There's a sweet spot between finding a niche that you cannot wait to rip the covers off in the morning. And you're like, yes, I'm going to coach on this topic all day. I'm going to do a TED talk on this topic. I'm going to do a masterclass on this topic, right? I mean, look at me, right? I'm wild about this stuff. I love it. So for each of you, we have to find the sweet spot between you're so passionate about it. It's right for you. And it allows you to hit your financial targets and replace your corporate income. Right? There is a sweet spot. It must do both, right? And again, if you think that you cannot have a coaching business, that you're passionate about the topic, and you're replacing or exceeding your corporate income, then guess what? It's a mindset problem. Because if you follow the blueprint, it is possible. Okay? So when it comes to the niche, we're talking about the right one for you, the sweet spot between that and making enough money to replace your corporate income. That's number 1. And for most people that I talk to, that's the first step. They're kind of like all over the place. They're kind of like, it could be this, could be that, right? So the first thing we do is a brainstorming activity. And that's where you want to start. The second part of the niche that I want to call out is the market validation piece of it. Market validation. Market validation. So here's my reminder here. Wayne, it's not just you either. It's all of us when we first started, including me, right? We all have to go through some kind of brainstorming to really, because side note, if you skip this step and don't do the brainstorming to land the plane with the right niche, what's going to happen? You're going to end up losing time and money because you're going to have to circle back and do all the foundational work again. So it's not just you, Wayne. All of us need to start Start there. And if you've already gone past it, for some of you, need to circle back and make sure it makes sense. Market validation. So the second part about the niche, it can't just be in our head, right? It can't just be Coach Betty and, Wayne talking about niche. And we're like, yes, this is the one, right? It can't just be in our head. There is a specific market validation system similar to, for those of you, again, I think back to my corporate life. I worked mostly corporate retail headquarters. And I think about, when it came to us creating products, we had to get to know our ideal client avatar and validate that the product we were about to roll out made sense in the market. And so should you, right? So market validation, this has to do with how to do the right research online with the right people in the right places and asking the right questions to confirm you are focusing your coaching in a validated market. We do not want you to pass go, to proceed, unless we have validated the market. If you're moving into like, oh, let me build my package, let me do this, let me do that, we need a validated market, okay? Really important. Now, yes, that will include ideal client avatar surveys. Okay, so I talked about ideal client avatar surveys during the workshop. And if you're trying to like, oh, what is that again? Ideal client avatar surveys. So this is where we talked about you getting out there and actually speaking to prospects in the market. I gave you specific questions to ask. For those of you who are working with me, I have a checklist of questions you'll be asking. So ideal client avatar surveys are going to be part of your market research. Yes. Okay. That comes under the category of niche. But there is more to it in terms of validating the market. Okay. There's some other really cool ways, especially with tech nowadays, of getting online and validating that the direction you're going is currently, and we're not just talking in general, is currently a validated market with the current economy, with the current seller psychology, and all the other things involved. So it's going to be part online research. This is part what I teach. And it's going to be part ideal client avatar surveys. Okay. Cool thing is, remember, as you're doing these things, we're also potentially getting clients. These are also funnels. So it's going to serve two different steps. Okay. Really important. Ideal client avatar surveys. Remember, those are live conversations you're having with your potential ideal market. You got to know how to find them. You got to know what to ask them. And very important, something I'll be doing with my clients, those of you watching this live, you know who you are. We're going to be doing a trend brainstorm. So once you're finished with your ideal client avatar surveys, we need to pull out the golden thread, which is the trends in your surveys. So for example, if I survey 5 people, right, there's a process that I use. I created a trend tool, a trend worksheet. And there's a process I use with my clients where we're going to pull out the trends when it comes to the goal, the outcome, the dream of your ideal client avatar. We're going to pull out the trends when it comes to the urgent problem, right? We need to make sure we're not everything every person says is going to make sense or matter. It's got to be a trend. Okay. I want to make that part clear. Trend. Okay. So we're looking for golden threads, and that's part of what I teach. The next part of the niche, there's 2 more parts of the niche I want to touch on because it's more than just I picked my niche out of a hat. Okay, this is a process, is competition research. Okay, we need to know our competitors. Our competitors. Okay, I put competitors and I put your unique value proposition, UVP. Okay, so what does that mean? In the program I teach, right? My clients, we work with something I created called a competition matrix. And yes, we'll be looking at some of your top competitors. Guess what? We can't do that unless you have a niche. If you don't have a niche, we don't know even where to start with your competitors. So we got to pick a lane because we have to know ahead of time. Just like when I was hiring a health coach and I was looking at 3 people, y'all need to know too, in general, right? Who potentially might a prospect of mine, an ideal client avatar, if they were not just talking to me, who are the other 2 people they might be talking to? So I use something called a competition matrix. Now, why are we looking at competitors? Why are we looking at competitors? Well, the main reason is we want to identify your unique value proposition. Okay. There's going to be something really, I think it's fun, but I'm also crazy about this stuff. I love this stuff. There's going to be something fun that we do where it's going to be part market validation and ideal client avatar survey. So you're going to get your audience, your niche audience telling you, this is what we need. We're begging for this. Why isn't anybody delivering it like this? This is what we need. Then you're going to go look at your top competitors and you're going to be looking for, well, are they offering that thing? Are they offering that thing? So you're going to be looking for the missing link between what your people are begging for and what your competitors are offering. Okay. Once you identify that, and this is part of what I'll do. So, again, if my clients watching this, don't get nervous. This is part of what we work on together. From that, we come up with your unique value proposition, right? This is how we make you an expert authority in the market. Is what's that one thing, or maybe that handful of things that I or my coaching services has to offer that my competitors don't. Maybe it's a way of doing things. Maybe it's a deliverable. Maybe it's your style. But we have to identify that and we have to write copy around that and message that. Your people should know right away what makes you different in your field. Okay, really, really important. Last but not least, ideal client avatar profile. And what do I mean by this? So again, I just want you guys to understand it's more than just choosing a niche and messaging. So we got to get your niche, your messaging, and your positioning. Okay. I want you to understand it's more than just picking a niche out of a hat. We then need to create a profile. Who is this ideal client avatar? What does their profile look like? Again, this reminds me back when I worked corporate retail, we had a profile of we gave her a name. We gave our ideal client avatar this pretend name, and we had a whole profile of this is where she shops, this is what she does, this is what she likes. And again, how does that help us get clients? Because if we know what she likes, where she hangs out, authors she follows, places she goes online, we can be there too. I say she or he, whoever, right? So I just want y'all to understand, right? When it comes to setting rocket fuel and making the client attraction go faster and easier, right? The mindset has to be in place and the niche messaging and positioning has to be in place. That's going to make it so much easier for you versus you just going out and telling people, hey, I'm a coach. That it's tough to explain that to people that don't get it. Okay. This is what's going to help you land the plane. Again, if you have questions, drop them into the chat because I know this is new for some people. This is new for some people. And again, this is what I teach, right? This is what I teach. This is module 1. Actually, this is module 1 in both the Academy and the Launchpad. So I dropped the link for the Launchpad in there before. This is an entire module. So for my clients that are watching this, we're going through this together. I'm holding your hand through this. But for all of you, I want you to understand what this entails. I don't want you to leave with any kind of like, oh yeah, I chose a niche, but he says I'm good. There's steps to that, okay? Number three, again, back to the agenda, the 3 secrets to expedite client attraction, to make it go faster, to make it feel easier. We're talking about make it easier, make it faster. And the number 3 secret is your coaching package. Write it down, coaching package. It's your coaching package. And what does that have to do with, anybody want to write down in the chat? How do you think having a specific coaching package is going to help you attract clients faster and make it easier for you to turn somebody that you're just meeting into a client? How do you think having a package? Michael says easier to close. That's for sure, right? It's easier to close something you can say, this is the thing I have, versus, oh yeah, we'll just meet. I'll just coach you off, whatever topic. Sarah says, looks like a cohesive, comprehensive product. Sarah, exactly. Yeah. And again, this here is mod 2 of Launchpad. right? Building the package. So again, for my clients, yeah, I want the same way, you guys, this is part of my methodology, and I'm coming and saying this is my method. So should each of you. Each of you wants to have, just like Sarah said, a cohesive, comprehensive product, something it's hard for people to conceptualize coaching. Okay. You want to make it easy for the person in front of you to understand, oh, this is what it's going to look like together. Christina says, shows you having a strategic approach and thinking about more than one-off services anyone can provide. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is about systems and strategies and blueprints, right? This isn't, listen, how many times have you talked to a prospect, or as I call them, civilians, non-coaches, and they confuse coaching for counseling, and they think, oh, I'll just sit down with you like I do a counselor, and I'll just whatever topic comes out of the blue, right? Which, to be fair, you could coach any topic, right? But does that feel to the client like, a transformational journey, a transformational change? Does that also feel scalable to you? Absolutely, Christina. Wayne says, know what you're offering and what to expect and how much. Yeah, you don't want to go into this with like, well, I'll just coach you. I don't know. We'll just sit. We'll just talk. Kim, easier to get your ideal client avatar to the desired end state. Absolutely. It's not just about sales. It's about results. Thank you, Kim. When you have a signature method, right? That's when you can get them from pain to dream. So again, just to break this down quick, and as a reminder, this is the launch pad, right? Mindset training and coaching throughout, niche messaging and positioning. That's module 1. And module 2 is building out your package. So everybody made some great points how this is going to make it easier for you and faster for you to get clients. So what does the package mean? The method. So that's part of it, the framework or the method. So everybody watching here, once you select your niche, right? There's a brainstorming activity I do with my clients, where I pull out of your brains. I'm the copy and messaging gal, right? That's where I come in. Is I take what you've learned, your skill set, what's in your brains, the tools we have, and we put it into client speak so the client can understand. So we need to build, each of you needs a method, okay? 3 to 5 steps or pillars to get your niche from pain to dream. Now, to be clear, does that mean you're going to treat everybody like a cookie cutter, like a digital course? No. You're going to customize the heck out of it. The way I coach Christina is going to be wildly different than the way I coach Sarah, right? It's going to be customized, but you still want to have a method to the madness. Otherwise, it's not scalable. You're showing up for every call. You don't know where you're going with it. They don't know where you're going with it. And it's tough to sell something that's not somewhat tangible, right? So you want to have a framework or a method. So that's going to be, when I say a package, I don't just mean 10 coaching sessions. I mean, what's your method? What's your framework? Okay, that's a piece of it. Deliverables, write that down. Deliverables. Deliverables. Okay, so deliverables, those are the tools. If you think about coaching using the analogy, like, you're helping your client climb a mountain, and you're a mountain climbing expert as the coach. Your method is telling them where on the mountain to step. The method is saying, put your hand here, put your foot here, reach up here. So the method is like the map to get up the mountain, okay? The deliverables are the tools, right? You're saying, wear this helmet, have this pick, wear these spiky shoes, have a water bottle, all the things you need as you're climbing a mountain. So same thing, right? We want to think for our clients, we've got a method to get them from pain to dream, but what are the tools that go along with that method, right? And there are 4 different types of deliverables. And again, I teach this in my program, and we want to take a look at what that looks like for you. What are the tools that need to go alongside the method? And of course, this can change, and it will change over time. Over time, you'll create more and more deliverables. You don't need to have a pristine, perfect, like, I've got, a video vault. No, you do not need that nor should you, to be able to make sales. But we do want to explore what are some of the tools that are going to go alongside the method. Now, what's that going to do? Having a method and having deliverables. Well, one, it's going to make you more confident because you're going to be able to get your clients better results. Okay. Two, it's going to increase the value of your package. Okay. When you have a method and you have deliverables, you've increased the value. You've increased the value of your package. So it's in, again, you'll feel, again, goes back to price point, right? Now, when you're sharing with somebody, hey, I have this coaching package that I do with people. Here's my method. Here are the tools I use. Here's the value of this. When you actually put a price tag on it, it's not going to be pulled out of thin air. It's going to be relevant to the value. It's going to be relevant to the value. You're going to be able to show somebody, look, yes, it's an investment. It's an investment, but it aligns with the value. So you need to be able to break this down for people when you're in that sales conversation. So they have a clear understanding, right, of why is it priced this way, right? Some people have never, especially that haven't coached before, they have no idea why is it priced this way. So that's your job, is to be able to show them that. The last part I want to say about when it comes to your coaching package, you need to learn how many things to offer, right? How many things to offer. So we want, in a way, some simplicity there. We don't want to put too many things. So there's going to be a sweet spot between, we don't want too many offerings. We want to keep it simple. Okay. So not too many offerings, but we want a couple. We want a couple offerings. And you also want to consider potentially having some kind of an organic funnel. So you can have one package that leads to another package, or one paid coaching session that leads to buying a coaching package. So I just want to point out, when it comes to packages, it's not an all or nothing. Oh, I have one package or two packages, right? It can be one is an organic funnel to the other. Okay. And there is a way to do that in terms of even giving one paid coaching session and then pitching the bigger package. All right. So again, just high level here, the three things that are going to make life so much easier as you get out there and you talk to your inner circle and you get referrals and you do ideal client avatar surveys and you start to get into pitching. Hey, this is what I do. I'm passionate about it. I love it. We need these three things in check. And that's what's going to make it so much quicker for you to say, oh my gosh, Betty, I got my first 2 people signed. Betty, I pulled in this much money in this month, right? Is you have your focus, your niche, your message, and your positioning. You've got your package and your mindset is in check. That's constantly being worked, because if you don't believe in it, they're not going to believe in it, right? So all these things are going to go in on that. Now, I want to end it. Couple things here. We talked about also on the agenda, and if you have questions, drop them into the chat before we hop off here. We talked about on the agenda, how will this elevate the type of clients you're attracting? Again, when we are this specific, you get to describe. I talked about creating a profile for your ideal client avatar. That profile is going to affect the copy we write. It's going to affect the types of things we post. It's going to affect who we outreach to. This is the foundational stuff. Michael said it, foundational stuff that affects everything. So if you want to pull clients that are, elevated, whatever you want that to mean for yourself, they appreciate coaching. They're very coachable. They have, when you match, it should be a perfect match. The urgent problem that you're solving, that you're coaching towards, that specific urgent problem is a perfect match to the human that has it. And you're describing it so that it's almost like 2 notes exactly in tune for musical people out there, right? So that's how you attract an elevated, when people are like, oh, Betty, no one can afford. I'm going to look at this. This is what I'm going to look at, right? Because if you want to elevate the type of people you're attracting, we got to see what we're working with here. We got to see the messaging, especially. Okay. Really important. I do want to point this out too. Again, this part of the agenda here. The number one way to get confident when you're talking about and selling your coaching services, and it's not a big wild surprise, it's already up there. The number one way to get confident behind talking about and selling your coaching services. And I've seen this, I see this happen with my own clients. That's why I'm saying, and I went through it too when I first started coaching. So if you, I mean, yes, of course, mindset coaching, right? But at the end of the day, when you have a specific niche and it rolls off your tongue, right? I empower this type of person to do this type of thing so they achieve this type of result. Boom, 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 boom. Rolls off the tongue, right? And you've got a package that you can get behind. You're like, yeah, that's good. That method, that's on point. When I see people light up in my program and they really, when I talk about rocket fuel, just shoot to the stars in terms of all of a sudden they're attracting clients and, you know, hitting their financial targets. It's usually, you know, this is when the confidence just starts to bubble over, because before you know what direction you're heading and the thing that you're about to offer, it's tough to be behind that, right? To have confidence in explaining that to somebody. This is the part of the process where I see clients and just coaches in general, if they're doing it right, their confidence just skyrockets because they're like, yes, that's my method. And these are my tools. And this is unique to me. Right. So that I just want, for those of you that are like, oh, I still don't feel super confident. I want you to know that once you hit this spot and you're still working your mindset, right, the confidence will soar. So it's coming, but you got to keep moving in that way. Okay. Now, last thing before we hop off here. And again, I'm taking that you guys are processing here without any questions. I'm taking that as a good thing, but let me know if something feels confusing, drop it into the chat if it feels confusing. I want to show y'all before we hop off here. And again, this is something that I have only shared with a couple people. So this is officially sharing this out loud with all of you here. So this is something different. This is something different from our academy. And it's directly correlated to what I just taught you tonight. It's called the Coaching Business Launchpad. So this is meant to get you launched. Okay. Again, what's the Launchpad? It's this. Christina, I can't wait for you to get started, lady. Yeah, it's this. This is the Launchpad. Okay. So really important here. And I will put it up here for y'all again in the chat, the link, so that you can save that link. There's also a link if you just want to ask me about the Launchpad. I mean, I think I put a lot of info in there. I'll explain it here in a second. But there is a link if you want to book like a 10-minute chat call with me, if you have any questions, or just DM me. You know, either one is fine. But the Launchpad is essentially everything that we talked about tonight, right? That is literally the Launchpad. That is literally what I'm going over with my clients. So what's the Launchpad? So I gave you the link in the chat. Let me scroll down beneath all these wonderful testimonials. So what's the Launchpad? And what's the difference between the Launchpad and the Academy? The Launchpad is the starting place. This is where you get started. Okay. This is literally your launching point. So it's a 6-month group coaching program. Okay. It's 6 months. We meet twice a month, about an hour a call. But, you know, I coach every client on every call. So if I don't get to every client on every call, I'm going to stay longer than an hour. But we meet twice a month for 6 months. And I'm going to be coaching you through what I just taught you today. Right? We're going to talk about getting you ready to launch. So this will be business and marketing strategy calls with me. I have Kruthi on here too, but at this point, it's going to be me, yours truly. So you'll have those live calls. So that's for 6 months. In between calls, I'm going to be having you implementing, which is kind of a nice cadence. You learn, you implement. You learn, you implement. Okay. You will also have access to the On-Demand Learning Center. Okay. The On-Demand Learning Center is the 3 modules I just taught you on the whiteboard here. We're going to have a mindset bonus training. we're going to have our niche module 1, niche messaging positioning, and our coaching package and method module 2. Okay, so that's going to be videos for everything we talked about, tools, worksheets for everything we talked about. You complete them, you share them with me. I give you feedback on the live calls, right? We go back and forth. We do have, actually, this, I didn't update this date here, but we do have an in-person event coming up in St. Petersburg, Florida. And you will also get an invite, a complimentary ticket to our event. So that is part of the Launchpad, is that you can come and join the community. And, our event will be part networking, part hot seat coaching live, and part training. And then you'll have a private mastermind community. So our Launchpad peeps will have a virtual private community where y'all can connect in between calls, in addition to the calls itself. So again, just to remind you, the trainings include the niche and the messaging, everything we just talked about, right? Everything we just talked about. It's going to include module 2, creating a killer coaching package, everything we just talked about. Okay. Now, the other cool thing too, the 3-step client acquisition system, you're going to have access to that for the entire program. So, we tearing down all the videos from the workshop because that's like a quick one and done. But for those of you joining Launchpad, you get the workshop, the client attraction system videos. So all 9 videos from the client attraction system, the workbook, all that stuff, the inner circle tracker, all of it. I talked about mindset training. Now, part of that is going to be me coaching you on Mindset Live, right? But part of that is a specific bonus mindset training that's really powerful, really, really powerful that I have you do when you kick off with me. So here's the way it works. Here's the way the Launchpad works. It's meant to get you ready to launch, right? This is typically, there's 3 bonuses. These bonuses are good through Sunday. These bonuses are good through this Sunday, March 30th. So I don't know, what is that, 4 days? It's like 4 days. By the way, you can buy them straight off here. You don't have to book a call with me. You can buy them straight off here. The price is on here, the whole thing. So the first bonus is a cash bonus, $1,000 off. So the price of our Launchpad, it's $5,500. If you pay monthly, it's $5,000 if you pay in full. However, if you join by Sunday, you get $1,000 off bonus. Okay. So what does that mean for you? If you join by Sunday, you can pay $750 to get started. So that would be your monthly payment, $750. Okay. Or if you want to pay in full, it would be $4K, right? So you save, essentially you save $1,500 if you pay in full. You save $1,000 if you pay monthly. So I should change that. It's $1,000 if you pay monthly. You save $1,500 if you pay in full. Okay. So that cash bonus is good through Sunday. Bonus true, the mindset training. I told you about that. Again, I'm not even going to get into it again. If you're not in the right headspace, none of this will matter. So this initial kickoff training that I do with you guys, it's going to rock your world, and it's going to be something you go back to again and again and again and again. All right. Bonus 3 is an invite to our in-person event. So if you want to redeem your bonuses, and like I said, I do have a cap on how many people I bring into my group. I don't do groups with 100 people. I don't do groups with 50 people. I keep it fairly small, boutique style, because I will not get off a call unless every client is coached on that call. All right. So the total bonus package you save, it's valued at about $3,500 if you pay by Sunday, March 30th. So how do you do it? If you want to get started, you want to pay in full, you click there, and it's as easy as that. Boom. Once that comes through, right, we get the alert, and you get your onboarding goodies. If you want to pay in full, if you want to pay monthly, you click here, boom, submit $750, and that'll get you started, right? And then that'll be your monthly payment. It's the last part here. If you're like, I got a couple questions before I sign up, honestly, just DM me or book a call. Either one. I'm happy to hop on a call with you. Text me if you have my phone number, whatever makes sense. But right here, there is a little button where you can book a call. If you're not seeing any spots available for tomorrow, just let me know. I'm happy to chat through it with you. All right. So if you have any questions, let me know. Sarah, I'll reach out to you because Sarah, you're already in, sister. So I'll reach out to you. Access to the community after the 6 months. Yeah, there are options. Yep, reach out to you. And so for those of you that have already signed on, buckle up. It's going to be an exciting road. For those of you that are wanting to sign on, again, you have until Sunday, this Sunday, so about 4 days. It's March 30th. And once you submit payment, that's you locking in the bonus. After Sunday, March 30th, it goes back to full price. The bonuses go away. Sarah, you're so welcome. Sarah says, excited to see where the journey takes me. Yeah, girl, you're going to fly. You're going to soar, sister. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I look forward to seeing more of you with us in the Launchpad. This is the place to start. This is the way to expedite attracting clients. This is it. All right. Bye, Michael. Bye, Kim. Bye, y'all. Talk to you soon.